Okay, so not a huge amount has changed since the last time, but we should probably go through it. First thing, this is an old feature, but I don't think I really talked that much about it. So this is just an open thing, so I can open things that I've made before. So I've been doing a bunch of work on the Modifier Stack, and the CC is Composer Companion. It's not supposed to be C++, but they got to it first, which is fine. So I just dropped that in there. That basically brings me to my original state. In order to get one of those files, you just have to hit the save button, and then it just saves it to your local machine. And then it'll appear in your downloads folder, and then you can name it or rename it to whatever you want. So here is my modifier stack. So I have a modifier here that's called test, not quite correctly spelled modifier, which is selected in the modifiers list. And this is my stack. So what this would mean is whatever chord this gets applied to, or chords that this gets applied to, it's going to be split into 3 equal time sections over whatever the amount of time the chord's sounding for. So for example, this B would get played, and if I wanted to put the test modifier on it like that, that means that the B is going to get split into 3 equal sections, at least according to the first row in the modifier. So it gets split into 3 equal sections, and then this section, the first of the 3, gets split into 3 more sections. So this would be like 3 beats, and then this first beat gets split into 3 more beats. So this is you could call it a triplet if you want, I guess. And then on top of that, the first split gets another thing applied to it, which is an arpeggio. And in this case, it is selected to go up. Now it'd be down, but it'll be up. Then you have a MIDI, which your MIDI files that you would load, would be loaded in here. This particular section would be applied to that chord. So there's 2 notes that are sounding, and then I'm going to have some sort of way of applying it, like either applying the lowest note to the lowest note in the chord, so it would just play at this rhythm, and then it would apply somewhere. I haven't figured out exactly how, but I think there's going to be lots of little options on how you can do that, so you can sort of create new things that you might not come up with on your own, or at least without a little bit more effort. So this is another arpeggio applied to the 3rd split on the 1st split. So yeah, so the arpeggio is just going to be equally length sounding notes. For, like, if it was a C chord, like a C, E, G, it would be like C, E, G evenly across this section of time. Then I have this last one here. It's called a step tone. So the idea is that you can just step the tone up or down. So if you wanted to step it down like a whole octave, you go -12, because that'd be 12 semitones. If you want to step it up, then you can step it up 12 semitones. There is no 0, because 0 would mean you just get rid of it. There's no point in having it then. Otherwise, you could step it down like 1 tone, or up 1 tone, or 5, or whatever. So I don't know how exactly this can be used, but I think it's just an interesting thing. And then the rest is basically saying no notes will get played during this section of time. So it'd be, for a B major chord, it'd just be a B major chord, B major chord, B major chord, except in this last third, it's not going to be sounded at all. Now that's how it's supposed to work. It doesn't do that yet, so that's what my next sort of thing is that I'm working on now. All these buttons are basically like your ability to apply new things. So if I delete this one, select that one, then I can split again, or I can do a MIDI, which would put the MIDI here. And then these red bars are basically saying these are the things that are, it's just like the last thing that's going to happen. I don't know if I'm going to leave red lines there are not to signify anything, but they're there now so that I understand how my data structure is actually working. So that's where we're at. This is going to be super powerful when it's done. So you should be able to save these and like reuse them in other projects and even possibly sort of stack modifiers on top of modifiers. I think you make some interesting things that way. And then repackage and reuse.